Welcome to Coreum Concepts. Today I'm going to have what I would describe probably my most bullish video yet. Last week had a pile of new developments in the Coreum and XRP Ledger ecospace to talk about. So I'm going to do my best to cover it all as quick as I can, but at the same time, there's so much content, this might turn into be a really long video. So it'll give me an opportunity to see if you guys like a longer format video, and we'll see how it goes. So I did another review on the white paper this weekend while I was preparing a video on the bonded proof of stake and on Coreum. So it just always makes me smile when I open up the white paper and see the title, Coreum, one blockchain for all. So I'll put a link in my video. I encourage everybody to review the white paper if you haven't already. And I'll also put a link to that video I did on bonded proof of stake for anybody that's asking or uncertain about it. You can direct them towards that. Hopefully it's informative. So good news in the markets. Coreum made it to TradingView. So we had a few new exchange listings at Bitmart and Gate.io, and I guess now they got enough feeds coming in that we made it on TradingView. So that's great to see, and I look forward to covering a little bit of TA on my channel. I'm going to lean on some of the community and share their TA, but it's really nice to see that we got some more signs of momentum as we head in towards the mainnet launch here. So by the time we're done this video, there's going to be some more stories to add to that momentum. So it's late Sunday evening here in Western BC. Markets closed their weekly candle a couple hours ago. Coreum's been pumping pretty hard today. It's had some swings up to that 40-cent mark at some points today. So a little bit of volatility as we move closer to the snapshot date. Sologenic coming in at 16 cents. XRP coming in at 41 cents. Bitcoin coming in at 23,744. So some urgent news to share here from crypto.com. I got an email today, reminder that USDT Tether will no longer be supported in the crypto.com app. On January 31st, 2023 at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, USDT will be delisted and all USDT transactions will be suspended. Please take urgent action to review your USDT balance and take any necessary action, example withdrawal or conversion, before the effective date. So just a heads up to get that sorted out before the cutoff. I don't have anything left on there to worry about, so I haven't looked into the fine print of what happens if you don't get there, but you shouldn't be leaving that sitting on the exchanges in today's climate anyway. So take care out there, and interesting to see what Canada's doing here with the legislation. It's changing slowly but surely, and it's going to come a tipping point here where the industry, as we know, it's going to look a lot different in Canada. They're really going after our on-ramps and our off-ramps, and it's really looking like they're heading towards accredited investor status for interacting with crypto. So there's a lot going on here. There's a lot more restrictions coming on recently. A month or so ago, Uphold removed the ability for Canadians to buy gold and silver, platinum on the platform. So we always say we're waiting for regulation. It's coming. They're doing it in the background. They have it ready to roll out. It's just a matter of timing, and every jurisdiction is different. But I think they're all working us towards the same outcome here in their own way. So in related story, stablecoin Stably that we recently talked about coming to the Coreum network. It's on the XRP ledger also. To all Stably users in Texas, due to the changing regulatory environment, our regulated custodian Prime Trust and us will cease servicing Texas residents starting the same day, January 31st, 2023. So there's more info to be had there if you're affected by that, my friends down in Texas. But it's things are changing, so we have to be ready to pivot and keep our eyes on what's going on here, because these regulations aren't necessarily for our best interest. The total crypto market after the weekend's trending just over the 1 trillion mark. Gold's been hanging out there. It's still at $1,930. Silver, $23.68. And the DXY is at 101.85. So this week in the markets, we have a lot to watch out for. There's going to be some volatility this week for sure. We got earnings reports coming in this week, and also the Fed rate hike. So expect volatility. I'm prepared for all these assets are kind of at the top of their hitting resistances, and so with the announcements we have coming, I'd be prepared for a pullback of some kind. So everything's been running pretty hot for a bit, so with the announcements we have coming this week, I'd just be cautious. And a few announcements here for some projects that have some things going on. The BPM wallet, now its rewards hub goes live Monday, tomorrow. I just did a video this weekend explaining how that all works, and I afterwards did stake. I'm part of the beta testing, so I was able to stake mine. It took me like a minute. It was so seamless. So my tokens are locked in for 12 months. Amazing APY, and they're still in my Zum wallet in my possession where they should be. So great project. There's a video I'll put a link to in the description of the video if you're interested in that. And Core Heroes also has a whitelist open up until February 1st for their community validator project that they got going on there. So lots of stuff going on there with that. I just wanted to get those videos out in a timely manner, so if anybody was interested, there's some information and some links to their discords there. So I also did a video on the bonded proof of stake, like I said, and slashing, because I was in some Twitter spaces and there's some concerns about the slashing and how it affects everybody. So it's definitely something that we want to make sure we understand, and that people coming into the ecosystem understand. So hopefully you find some value in that video. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll have a link to that also. So this week in the Solo Nation Twitter space with Reza and Zen Warrior also did a video on the Sologenic.army website. This is a community website that these guys put together, and it's just a beautiful looking site, a huge amount of information all gathered in one area for the Sologenic ecosystem. So I really encourage you guys to go check that out. There's pretty much everything you could ever hope to read and understand, links to interviews and articles. So yeah, it's really good work. Really impressive that they've put all this together just on a community level. So really good job, and really encourage you to go check out Sologenic.army. So here's where things start getting bullish. So CoinGirl YouTube channel did a price prediction video, and it's also her 1-year anniversary. So yeah, she's got a great channel, a really good coverage, and she did a core price prediction video. So I won't spill the beans on what it is, but it's not the $10.64 that's on the title there, but she has a very interesting formula to get to the number she comes to. And I think if you haven't checked it out, just definitely give her a subscribe and a view, because she provides really good content. So good job on 1 year. I watched a lot of the videos in the past year. On Friday, Solo Nation held a community catch-up Twitter space that Reza and Chris from Coreum and Sologenic attended, and man, did they drop some news on that space. So really great job again by Solo Nation and Zen for the content that they provide for us in these Twitter spaces. So I'll just touch on some of the things quickly that were covered in that Twitter space. I'll definitely be putting a link to it in the description of this video. Really encourage you to spend an hour and listen to it. There's a lot of good things coming ahead for us. So there's going to be more token listings in Q1 here, coming up to the mainnet, and addressing there's rumors, I guess, or stories going around about the teams combining and stuff, and for whatever reason, I'm not too sure the backstory behind it, but Fabio felt the need to clarify that the Sologenic and Coreum teams are totally separate funding. They work in separate time zones. So whatever the reasoning was for that, I just figured I'd pass that along. It seemed like it was important for him to clear that up. So changes that are coming up is a notification system coming to Sologenic DEX. So there's going to be up to 35 total different notifications available at some point, but right off the bat here, they're just starting with 3, and that's going to be an order fulfilled notification, a payment received notification, and an NFT sale notification. So it's going to be a nice little addition to the DEX for sure. So in discussion about on-ramp and off-ramps, The Solo card is coming very soon for an off-ramp, and the Stably partnership allows for an on-ramp and off-ramp also. So that's positive news. We do have to keep our eyes on that situation in Texas with Stably to see, hopefully that's not infectious. I don't live in the United States or Texas, so I'm not too sure if that's just a local issue or if it's something that's possibly spreading. Flavio also committed that there is a new revised roadmap that's going to be released very soon. Sologenic Prime is going to be available to help support the artists and by way of giving grants in that. So in the NFT space, if you're an artist, keep your eyes open for the Sologenic Prime grants program. So, and this was a big development here. He spoke of a one-click XRP wallet activation. So that, that's going to be huge change for people accessing the ledger, because that's a big hang up, everybody having to get their XRP and then move it on there just to activate the wallet. He's talking about one-click funding that's going to purchase you just enough funds to activate your wallet and have some XRPs available to set up a few trust lines in that. So it's going to be really exciting to see what that looks like. Wave 2 of the developer grants is coming up, and its focus is going to be on smart token development. So if you're a developer looking to develop on Coreum, reach out for the second wave of grants coming up here. He talked about some wallets that were going to be available to interact with the Coreum chain, and they are in discussions, or no, I think they've committed actually to Cosmos Station, MintScan, and their what was the name? Oh, Amber was the name of the company that announced a few weeks back as a wallet that'll be available, and they are working on trying to get the Kepler wallet. I admittedly don't know a lot about the Cosmos ecosystem in that detail to know about these. Zen Warrior Station channel is a really good resource for the Cosmos and Coreum overlap there. And there was some discussion about the recently announced SDK package for people to use the Sologenic tech on their own websites. So he mentioned two potential use cases for that was, somebody's business that they could protect all the sales and everything on their own site, but still be compatible with the Sologenic NFT ecosystem. And then the other one that really sparked my interest is, I just know it's the path ahead for us, unfortunately, or fortunately maybe, but is NFTs as an identity. So there's going to be lots of advantages for that, for interacting with Web3, no doubt. But I think eventually big government and business might also have their own ideas what they would like to do with it. So hopefully we can find a good balance. And that's why I think these community projects are important, is that us common folk out here do have a say in the outcomes of these systems. It's important for us to interact with them and understand them and do what we can to propel them in a positive direction as much as possible. They discussed the upcoming upgrades to the XRP ledger with the automated market makers. He did say that they have been in discussions with Ripple that it's going to push out quicker than the last amendment that was approved. They don't want to wait as long. I think he said it was like 4 months from the last time it was approved to the time it actually rolled out. So I guess they've had some assurances that whenever that amendment is approved, it's going to be pushed out pretty quick. So that was good to hear. I think everybody's excited to get the automated market maker out here. And next week, he announced that they're probably going to have another Twitter space, have a community AMA, and they were going to bring somebody on to focus on tokenization. So if there's anything like this hour that he was on this week, it should be quite interesting if we're going to focus on tokenization. So if you have any questions about tokenization or where Coreum's going with that, that'll be a great opportunity to get them answered. I'd recommend reach out to core councils if you have any questions. They'd probably be able to get them forwarded on the program, or also Zen Warrior. I'm sure either one of those would be able to forward any questions that you might have. So either way, I'm going to put the link for this last Twitter space below for you to listen to. Really encourage it. There's so much positive news. I didn't even cover it all. There's just not enough time, but watch or listen to that Twitter space. You'll get caught up in a hurry. So yeah, lots of positive news in that Twitter space. Lots of things to look forward in the year ahead. Introduced Chris from marketing there. She explained what some of the things that they have in store for the year ahead. It's going to be really exciting. Lots of momentum, and reminded me I forgot to check on our audit progress on our markets there. Check this morning is we're now at 22%. So momentum is still heading in the right direction. To keep up the bullish content here, Reza had a tweet here saying, "Been very focused these past few months. We are moving mountains for Sologenic and building the future with Coreum." So it's going to be exciting to see, because Coreum's going to take Sologenic to the next level. I think it's going to be a beautiful sight to see them both take off together. Sologenic Mania shared an interview that Bob Ross was on with FinTech TV, and he was speaking to decentralization and no need for have a third party to execute a trade. So it's a good interview. I'll post a link to it in the description of the video here.
I think it's important, as I mentioned, that the key here is to create a decentralized ecosystem for any users. Yeah. I think that the basic right of any user is to make sure that the assets are safeguarded. And if you're talking about cryptocurrency, I think that the main purpose of cryptocurrency was, removing any third party. And for that reason, I think that the space should go towards a more decentralized manner and a more decentralized ecosystem where you don't really need any third party to be in the middle to execute an order. And I think we are going to see that, in the next few years, definitely.
I do agree with you. Safety and having, more control and safer around your assets has really been something that has come out of these FTX collapse and this crypto winter that has taught people a lot of things. And some of that is the conversation that we're having here, how decentralized exchanges really can offer some of that. Really appreciate your time and your insight, Bob. Bob Rass, co-founder of Sologenic. Thank you.
And just because I love the artwork on this project, XRP Diary shared, "We are moving mountains for Sologenic." Reza's quote. Diary number 18, week 4, Bitmart listing for Solo. Coreum Validator was announced for Informal Inc. Ripple's new president, Monica Long. The artwork that he does is just stunning, and I enjoy seeing it every week. Good job. You can find this for sale on the Sologenic NFT marketplace. Make an offer on it. So I went back to this tweet from Bob Ross. This was back September 16th of this year. "Enterprise-graded blockchains are the future. There's a lack of layer 1 that can solve financial sector's regulatory concerns while providing secure, fast, and cost-efficient transaction. The first blockchain to solve this will potentially change the game forever." At Coreum Official. So, that was posted in September. In my mind, there's nothing that's dramatically changed in the for the financial sector's regulatory concerns between then and now. Coreum's on the verge of coming out in March. I'm just extremely bullish on everything. Every time you see these guys talk about the project, they're extremely comfortable and confident. I think we're well on our way to the good 2023 that they talked about. Yeah, so that wraps up my recap of the week, I guess. I'm sure I missed some things. It was a busy week with exchange listings and the spaces and the interviews, and it was quite a lot to keep track of. So I really encourage you to listen to those Twitter spaces and videos that I'll share the links for. On my way out here, I'm going to just share for some of the people that haven't been around very long. I know this first Twitter space of Core Council wasn't recorded, unfortunately, but somebody captured a little chunk of it here. So I'm going to play a little bit of that to see us out here today. So if you like what you've seen here today, if I provided you some value, I'd really appreciate a like and a subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you like the longer format videos or if you like them on the shorter side. I'm getting, I really close to my goal of 100 subscribers by March 21st or 24th when the main mat goes. I think I only need 12 more. I'm at 88, so it'd be really cool if I can speed that up and have 100 by next Sunday. I will do the weekly recap, longer format video like this on the live space, so I'll try that out, but they won't let me do it till I get to 100. So if you'd like to see that, please give me a subscribe. It'll help a lot. And yeah, this is the Twitter space that really got me excited about Coreum. I was really interested before, but didn't dive too deep into it. Just was kind of waiting. But it was this Twitter space back in December that really changed a lot for me.
Coreum space now, and like, oh, what is it? Yeah, so let me share some information about that and why. Like, one of the main questions is, what is the purpose of Coreum? Why is there a Coreum blockchain? And why do we think that Coreum blockchain is essential and is important for the future, financial use cases for the blockchain? And so main reason was, Coreum was actually born out of a necessity for us, because every time we looked around other blockchains, there were like issues and shortcomings with different things they handled, transactions and fees and scalability, extendability, and so on. So we thought, why don't we just spend some time, nothing serious back then, to think if that can be changed and we can create a better layer one blockchain. And so we did an extensive research on what exactly is it that we need to do, what blockchain or what sort of ecosystems we need to build on. And so it was obvious for us. We decided to choose Tendermint, which is compatible with IBC and Cosmos SDK. So a lot of new blockchains are built on Cosmos SDK. It really gives you flexibility on creating an application layer. So if you have if you think there is an idea to make the blockchain or to make a better blockchain, you could easily just use Cosmos SDK that comes with Tendermint and focus on the application logic rather than focusing on the main consensus layer. And that's the whole idea. So going back to the why Coreum and what is Coreum, I think it kind of is funny when I say why Coreum and what is Coreum, because Coreum's out there, mainnet is scheduled and devnet's there and all that stuff. But Coreum is really focused around assets. And I don't think there is any other blockchain that's currently capable of what Coreum is going to do. And that focus is essentially creating assets or having, being a hub as a blockchain for all the institutions, companies, banks, governments, CBDCs to come and start offering their assets on Coreum blockchain.
Sounds good to me.
I think a couple of weeks ago, I announced that we are working on a new technology that will be announced soon, and that is a part of Coreum. So yes, we are still all the details and everything is out. It's not out. Is done. It's probably in the code as well, but we haven't released the paper on it yet, and I think that's scheduled to go next week. I'm not sure exactly when the team has scheduled it.
Is this about the smart tokens?
It is.
Oh, okay. Because I saw a tweet from you and Bob that it's a new technology, revolutionary technology.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Can you share just bits and pieces of it without going too much on the technicals? Because I guess we'll leave it to the white paper for us to dig deeper.
Yeah.
But something that, how does it connect to the future of the financial system or enterprises? Can you share?
So before smart tokens, blockchains like Ethereum allow developers to basically create, any type of code and have it run execute on, a virtual machine, EVM, and, produce results. And so it's a very generic purpose blockchain. But, companies, when they want to issue tokens, NFTs, FTs, any token, they need to create smart contracts. And so these smart contracts live on the blockchain, and for people or for participants to interact with them, they have to interact with these smart contracts, which is not very utilized. Users pay a lot of fees when they want to invoke a specific or certain function within a smart contract, because that function is unknown to the blockchain. And these functions could be as simple as basic send or payments. So let's say if you want to send, US Tether or any other ERC20 that lives on the Ethereum, you're essentially interacting with the smart contract that created that, coin, say US Tether. And if you want to send it to someone, you have to invoke a specific function called send in that smart contract. And when you submit a transaction, the transaction goes through the execution engine at the validators when they're executing the code. And so they don't know what that code looks like. So they have to consume gas. And it could be low gas, high gas, but that is a non-deterministic transaction. So you don't know whether that transaction is going to execute and succeed or run out of gas for whatever reason and don't. So financial institutions mainly, or those who are seriously thinking about blockchain, they can't rely on non-deterministic things. They need to understand if they want to execute a transaction, whether that transaction will succeed and how much fees do they need to pay for that transaction, so that they can batch transactions, they can plan in advance and see, whether it's worth submitting, thousands of transactions on the chain or not. So with, when again we're talking about financial institutions, I think, there's still a lot of hype around the ISO 20022 standard around communications between financial institutions like banks and anybody who's basically using or transmitting money, or not even transmitting, but any sort of banking queries are defined within the ISO 20022. So we decided to be the first chain, and this is very important because no other blockchain has the ISO 20022 integrated directly within the chain, and so we're doing that. Any other blockchain has it as an external system, which is either centralized or is not directly on chain, and the chain does not have the code. So if you look at every other chain that says, yes, we are ISO 222, if you look at the source code, there's not even a mention of this standard. So it's just that they mention that, yes, you can build applications, connect these applications to the blockchain, and, in your application, you can create ISO 222 compatible transactions, which is not what we wanted. And so while we were thinking about this, we came to the idea of smart tokens, because we had to deal with smart contracts, and these smart contracts were not really, utilized for such transactions. When you're really thinking about ISO 222 transactions, just imagine if two banks, like Bank A, Bank B, two popular banks, start using the chain for, say, remittances or for transactions, for just regular send transactions. Imagine how many transactions are going to be there on the blockchain. There's going to be thousands if multiple banks start using the blockchain for that purpose. Because ISO 222 standard is, a regular send function with ISO 222 is not one transaction, is multiple transactions. for example, if you want to send, let's say Bank A wants to send funds to Bank B to a specific customer, then Bank A needs to, specifically ask Bank B whether this customer is fine, in good standing. So that's one message, and then the Bank B one should respond, yes, we're good. That's another message, and then Bank A, I think that like the number of transactions to complete one send transactions are not a single transaction. There are multiple transactions. So if you were to have these transactions as smart contract transactions, then that would take, a considerable amount of execution for, for the. Am I still here?
Yeah,
We're listening.
We're all listening.
Yeah. And so that's why we have the smart tokens. Smart tokens are designed for anyone. Let's say you own CBDC, you just come to Coreum and you get your token, and we have something called an ACL, which allows the token creator to customize that token, whether it requires KYC, whether it requires whitelisting, freezing. There's a lot of different things, and let me just be frank about that. A lot of those ideas were inspired by the XRP ledger, because the XRP ledger is indeed very fully doing transactions for banks, and we extended that. We wanted to make sure that if a token is issued, the token creator has the capability to create any sort of token, whether that's a fungible token or a non-fungible token. You could literally just program tags, or you can do airdrops directly with the code, or you can define, if you're tokenizing a stock, you can program dividends directly within the token contract.
That's huge.
So more details of smart tokens. I don't want to share a lot of information, because I want to make sure that everybody reads the paper, because that's very full and accurate. But that's pretty much what smart tokens are. They're very much designed to solve complex token situations.
Yeah, in relation to that, I do have a question. We know that the traditional finance industry is witnessing a daily increase in advocacy towards both the distributed ledger technology and blockchain technology. We know from what you have just mentioned that for financial institutions, Coreum promises to considerable savings, probably in infrastructure, transactionality, administrative costs, and among others. My question there is, since you as a founder and creator of Sologenic and the tokenization of stocks, I understand from what I've read in the EGB page, which I'm kind of like a geek and a nerd, that I try to also look into that. One of the use cases is capital markets. This is one of the biggest use cases I see for Coreum, which is the tokenization of the back-end processes that includes clearing and settlement, trade execution, could be asset documentation, among others. Can you explain more, at least the audience here, a lot of them would be educated, why Coreum is important and what's the importance also of Sologenic as a coin, a native coin?
So Sologenic is not a native coin on Coreum. In fact, Core Token is the native coin of Coreum. Coreum is an open blockchain. Anybody can build on Coreum, and we've seen so many different use cases. And these use cases are only limited by what we can think. So anybody can come and create an application or a use case on top of Coreum. And so Sologenic is one of the use cases. So Sologenic is an asset tokenization platform. And tokenizing things like securities and stocks, and they are pretty much complicated because they don't represent simple tokens. You have a lot of different functionalities in a stock market, for example, stock splits and dividends and all that stuff, that it's not easy to directly have them on chain or in a smart contract. So like we are, as Sologenic as well, going to implement those use cases on Coreum. But for capital markets, for any other use case, we're really creating Coreum to be as open as possible for anybody to come and build on top.
Okay, are you still there, Reza?
Yes, I'm still here. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. We're all excited. I'm sure we have a bunch of questions from the audience, and your time is also very precious, and we're happy that you were listening and joined the stage. But Principal Prosperity wants to ask a question.
Thanks, Albert. And you and Reza just both partially touched on what I wanted to ask, but I suppose we always talk about the three coins as the Holy Trinity, but for mine, the ultimate Holy Trinity could be announcement of several things in succession, potentially the lawsuit, Sologenic's tokenization license, and the announcement and establishment of the smart tokens by Coreum. Wouldn't that be a fantastic Holy Trinity all at the same time?
Oh, that would be fantastic. I can't wait to hear those stuff, yeah.
Can't wait to hear.
Excellent. And just quickly, Reza, also appreciate your time. And Albert, you touched on earlier, Albert, the 500 million tokens. I remember in a recent white paper a few months ago, they discussed that it may in fact move to an inflationary model to keep the staking rewards and an optimum price level. Is that still in the in the pipeline?
Yes, that still is in the pipeline. Yeah, that's still planned. So in when talking about inflation, there's a reason for inflation to exist in traditional monetary systems like fiat and all that stuff. Inflation sometimes is good, because with inflation you can control a lot of things, especially in a proof of stake ecosystem like Ethereum or Coreum or any other proof of stake. Not only inflation helps with securing the network, it helps with the governance as much, because if you don't stake your tokens, then you don't have a say in the governance. And so that kind of democratizes everything, and it basically allows everybody to have their say on the chain. So it's still in the pipeline.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I'll hand over to anyone else. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thank you, Principal Prosperity. We have Will here. I think he asked to go on stage. Will is also technical. Do you have any questions, Will? To Reza?
Yeah, I actually just had a quick question regarding the... I noticed that the Ethereum side chain that was just built for the XRP ledger was built using the Tendermint consensus engine. Does that have anything to do with Coreum as far as the Ethereum side chain on the XRPL?
No. So basically Tendermint, like I mentioned, with the XRP ledger side chains, essentially you can create the sidechain on any network, on any blockchain, as long as you can monitor incoming and outgoing transactions, and you can handle the interoperability with the main chain of the sidechain's consensus engine built on anything. You can have a consensus engine that's built on the Ripple protocol. But I think the one that exists today is built on Tendermint engine. I mentioned earlier that Tendermint is really a great consensus engine, and it handles the majority. Like it leaves less room for errors and bugs for a blockchain, so that developers can focus on the application layer. And on the XRPL sidechain, which is EVM based, the application layer is actually the Ethereum virtual machine.
Okay, another question, Reza, that we usually get, and this is from the XRP community on CBDCs, and they always talk about the federated side chains of the XRPL, and why is there a need for Coreum as a separate blockchain? My response to them was, okay, I'll let you explain that, so I don't need to tell how I responded to them, but yeah, I'll let you explain that piece.
So the question is, why is Coreum not a sidechain?
Like, why? What is it's more on their, I guess not their maximalism, on their state of mind when they question why is there a need for Coreum when XRPL can also have its own sidechain and there's like an integration with Ethereum.
So I think any chain can be a sidechain to the XRP ledger. Like, you don't necessarily have to call it a sidechain that's built using the XRPL code. As long as there is interoperability between the XRP ledger and the sidechain, which could be built on any other blockchain, you can call it a sidechain. You can call that, like how Flare, for example, is built, not on a sidechain, but on, I think it's a fork of Avalanche. That's what I believe. But you can still consider Flare to be, a chain that is side by side of the XRP ledger, not as a side chain. There isn't still any side chain for the XRP ledger because the side chain, the federated side chains, are experimental, and the main chain yet does not support, the monitoring. This is called it's called door accounts. So basically, door accounts exist on the main chain and the side chain. So when assets are transferred from the main chain, for example, to the side chain, they go through the door. And so the side chain monitors that door, and if a transaction is recorded in that account, it kind of replays that transaction on the side chain, and vice versa. If you send a transaction from the side chain to the main chain, it still is through the door. And so that door, in terms of the XRP ledger, that's called the door, but it's really a bridge. So this bridge could exist on the XRP ledger and any other blockchain, the same way as it exists on the XRP ledger and Flare, and it could exist with the XRP ledger and Coreum. So I can't really say why Coreum is built, because there is the XRP ledger sidechains. I don't think they are. You're kind of comparing, apples.
Correct.
And what is it?
Yeah, correct. You're right. The question that was asked from us when we did a session before was not this. You can't compare two different things. I get your point on that, which was basically, it's good that you explained the technical side of it. There was one question now related to the federated sidechain. Somebody just asked, I don't know if it's a correct question, but he asked by Holy Trinity Holder, please ask Reza if the federated sidechains have anything to do with private ledger.